everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm Camila and I make social media and entrepreneurial type of lifestyle content here on YouTube. Today I'm going to be talking about my experiences being an account manager at a tech company. If you have been following along, you know that I recently quit my job. I've been unemployed for 2 weeks now, which is kind of a milestone. I think when my 1 month mark comes, I'm going to make a video about like my feelings, experiences, and what I've been doing in all this time being unemployed. If you're watching this video and you're curious about tech companies or SaaS companies or what an account manager does, this video will be helpful for you. Once again, I recently quit 2 weeks ago after being employed at a SaaS company. I was there for a year and a half, although it feels like a lot longer. It feels like I've been there my entire life. Honestly, that's how kind of chaotic and a little bit of a roller coaster it was. It was a lot of hustle and grind, and I think that's why it just feels way longer. There was kind of never a dull moment type of feeling at this job, and it probably led to me being burnt out, which is why I am no longer at the company. I think it is common at tech companies where, they're very fast-paced, very hustle culture environment, and I just found that that wasn't for me. Regardless, I do want to say I'm really grateful to have had the job. I know, over the last few years, there's been a lot of tech layoffs, and having one of these jobs is a really great opportunity. So I am still grateful for the chance and everything that I learned in the last year and a half being with my company. So what exactly is an account manager and what do they do? I think the term account manager is a little versatile. It means different things sometimes from one company to another, including the roles and responsibilities. But generally, an account manager is that person who takes on existing clients to make sure they're being taken care of. So we make sure that we are retaining our clients. For example, at my company, would pay a monthly subscription. The account managers are there to help retain that business and also upsell this account or the client. You're taking care of clients, you're upselling, you're a liaison between a lot of different parties, between your company and the client's company, but you're that direct point of contact for the client. One huge plus on why I accepted this role was because it was fully remote. I think honestly at this point, unless I'm truly passionate about something, I will only accept remote positions. I'm a homebody. I love the comfort of my own home. When I first started this role, I was fully invested because I had wanted just a role at a tech company in general. When I first started here, I was in my total grind mode. I was, absorbing everything that I could. I was even working later than, I should have been. I was asking tons of questions. There was full investment in this role. I was working really hard, but there was no burnout in me, honestly, until I think about 1 year in. Of course, I had some burnout in the first 1, 2, 3 weeks when I'm actually learning everything. It was a lot to handle with the onboarding and the training. But after that, I was pretty content. Burnout, there was no really big burnout feelings. Like I said, about until the 1 year mark when I started picking up on things and realizing some things that I didn't like so much. Something that I do want to add here was that I was also a contract worker. So I was not a full-time employee. And there are, of course, some differences between contract and full-time employee. When you're on a contract position, you do not have any benefits, or there's less job security. They could pretty much cut you at any time. You wouldn't get EI. So it's a little more cutthroat. You also don't get, your health benefits. But a lot of the time, these contract roles will actually offer you more money to compensate for not giving any benefits and a lot of those other things. I feel some companies you have to negotiate a little, and say, hey, I'm not getting any kind of benefits, and they may be able to increase your base rate by a little. Honestly, I'm not sure. I didn't even do that. Honestly, I'm bad at negotiating, so every single time anything like that came up, I kind of just took it. Like I said, I was desperate kind of to enter into the tech industry. But if you are entering into a contract role, just keep that in mind. Like, you do have some negotiating power, especially if you're not getting like any kind of perks or benefits with the role. There were also some other like things about being a contract worker that I didn't like. On top of not receiving benefits, you also do not get paid vacation. And that is huge. It's a huge reason that employees or contract workers lead to feelings of burnt out or resentment towards the company. And that's kind of exactly what happened to me. Like, I just felt like it was almost weird to ask for time off. Some corporate companies will have things as like mental health days or random days off. My boyfriend has them. He also works for a tech company, but he's a full-time employee. And it was just total opposites between his job and mine. He would have, like, he often has these regular like mental health days off or just random days off, not to mention like unlimited PTO. Whereas like me, I was being I had to pay for my days off. I didn't feel comfortable sometimes asking for days off. Like, it was just totally backwards, and over time that really did eat at me a little. And at the end of the day, it just felt like I didn't have a lot of freedom in this role with vacation. After I hit my 1-year mark at the company, I asked about raises, and I was told that they would evaluate raises in the new year. So I asked in the summer. August was my like 1-year mark, and like they basically said, oh, you have to wait like 5-6 months for us to evaluate if you should even, like, if we are going to give annual like base rate increases for account managers. And that is just another like huge difference between being a corporate worker versus an employee. When you're an employee working a corporate role, everything is, you know, kind of in writing, in the books of what employees are to have or what they don't have. There are processes and like rules and laws in place. When you're a contract worker, none of that exists. Not to mention, I had to ask about my annual increase because it had been like 2-3 weeks that my 1-year mark went by, and I was like, okay, I need to ask now, because they didn't even bring it up. So this is the kind of, you could call it even like shady business. Like, in these kind of roles, if you don't speak up, like, you don't get anything. Like, if you don't tell them you're hungry, you're not being fed. Things like that always brought me out of my comfort zone. It's like, you just don't really feel as valued. Like, these are just basic working rights, I feel, especially when you hit your 1 year. They should be telling you, hey, you know, because I was a good worker. I had always been told I'm a good worker. Even when I quit and left, I was told that I could come back whenever. So it's not that it was due to job performance. Like, I had asked around to the other account managers as well, and they basically said, no, like, there's no increase, nothing was mentioned. So this was just like a general flaw that they didn't offer annual increases for account managers. In my account manager position, there was a ton of communication that I had to do with accounts. So I was responsible for onboarding new clients to the company, and this included training new users or clients on our system and showing them how to use the software. And like, honestly, sometimes I would hold training sessions that had 25 people or more in them, which is a lot for me to do, considering like I'm a pretty introverted person. So when I had to host these big trainings, that was a lot for me to do. Although I have realized, like, the smaller trainings, the ones that are more intimate, maybe with 1, 2, or like up to 5 people, you'll get more questions, people asking questions in those. So you actually have to show up a little more in those. Whereas when you have 25 people on the call, a lot of these bigger trainings, everybody was quiet with their camera off. Both of them were different, but in general, doing so many trainings took a toll on me as well. And after time, when you did get, you know, your experience in, they did become very repetitive too, which was a little draining. My calendar was always filled up. Like I would have days of like 5, 6, 7 meetings, and that was like totally normal at this company. That started to get to me. Like I honestly, if I don't have any meetings on my calendar for that day, that makes me like the happiest person. So day after day to just be filled with Zoom meetings, both internal and external, that was something that started to lead me to feeling burnt out. And I think if I do enter another 9 to 5 or even work at like another tech company, I hope that it will be different. So with all of these things that I'm mentioning, like the hustle culture was real, especially when you're not being paid like vacation or no real incentives to feel committed to the company. I felt like over time they were just adding new roles and responsibilities onto our existing role. Like there were no processes at this company, and a lot of the time when you're working in these small companies, like our team was, like our sales team, at least the ones that I worked with every single day, there were like 6 or 7 of us. Make sure that you get along with everybody, otherwise showing up to work every day is going to be very difficult. Though I did get along with the whole team, there were of course moments or like 1 or 2 people that, you know, some days would just really tick you off. And these people were above me. They had been, you know, they had some pretty high seniority after being at the company for years. So there's nothing really much you can do unless they're being like seriously terrible and you have to speak up. But this was literally just like their personalities that you have to deal with and work with every single day because you're on a small team. Being an account manager at a tech company, once again, there's no like fine line on which department you belong to, but at the end of the day, it does fit into a customer service role. And I feel like I gave 110% of my time and my energy to my accounts and clients, and I feel like that slowly ate me up. Like my calendar was always available for clients, and I would have clients just booking Zoom meetings with me because I had one of those book a link Calendly links in my email signatures. So you're pretty much telling people like you're always available, and that's how my days ended up with 5, 6, 7 meetings per day. I know I'm done with something when it feels like I have no motivation to even do the smallest of things. Like everything was so difficult to do. All of the mundane tasks that I would do every day like just became almost impossible. And that's in the past how I've always known it's time to move on. Like there's just no ifs, ands, or buts type thing. The burnout and the difficulty to do just even the smallest of tasks made me or led me to quit my job. I feel like this role honestly has helped me to grow as an individual so much. Being within a company that, you know, is very fast paced and very hustle culture does teach you a lot about yourself, about your work ethic, and I feel confident what I've learned from this company is going to help me in every single one of my other jobs that I do have. So there is no regrets of working here. It was good money for the time, but just not something that I want to do forever. And when I did quit, of course, I was nervous, though. I mean, it is remote, so you don't quit in person, but it was very difficult because being in a small team, I feel like I'm letting everybody down, but there just comes that burnout point where you don't care anymore and it feels like the right thing to do. I was asked to stay 2 weeks, which being a contract worker is, of course, it is nice because they could have let me go that day, but I had a ton of stuff that I needed to help wrap up. And as mentioned previously, they did say I could come back if I wanted, but I don't really believe in going back to jobs. Like it just feels like a step back. Even if like they offered me more money, like, okay, maybe I would, but I enjoy new experiences and new things. So it would be weird to go back, and I don't think I ever would. I was also asked to do an exit interview. So I gave my my feedback to my VP as best as I could, both good and bad. And hopefully with what I said, they can change some things in the future for future account managers, because yeah, the hustle is real. I have been unemployed for 2 weeks, and I will be making some updates on what I've been doing in my time of not having a 9-to-5 and some of the future steps that I'm going to be taking in the next few weeks. I hope this video helped to shine some light on what the account management position is like. Of course, like, they're all so different, but this was my experience working at a tech company, and pretty much some reasons why I also left. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks.